Hello and welcome to Volt Vehicles. This is my review on the Engwe O14, an interesting foldable 250 watt 15 amp hour shaft drive electric bike, which is quite unique. Let's get into this. So when it comes to the electronics here, battery is then 15.5 amp hours, 48 volts. It doesn't say what type of cells these are, so they could be unbranded cells, which is not a good thing. This may be lower reliability than Samsung cells or LG cells. It's in a pretty conveniently placed area here, where you can easily remove it. You've got that nice handle to be able to hold it and bring it to work, for example, so you can carry it with you very easily. I like that, the way it's shaped here. The claimed range here is 82 kilometer range, but I think that's very optimistic for this type of bike. The bike's range is about 40 to 30 kilometers. When using the max pedal assist, this is probably what is on a good day with a light ride and the lowest electric assist settings. When it comes to the motor here, we've got a 250 watt motor, so not a very strong motor, but legal in EU countries, which is good for us who live in the EU. And in my opinion, it's perfectly fine when you're just cruising around in the city, because I don't feel like I need that much power when I'm in the city. Not so much breeze is seen there, and also the speeds don't tend to become that high. It's not a particular branded motor, so it's not a good thing. I would like to have like a Bafang or Shimano or some type of motor that is branded, so we know what we're working with here. This is an unbranded motor, so less possibility of maintenance here. The good thing about this motor though is that even though it's a 250 watt motor, it's got a peak at 400 watts, so it can be a pretty beefy hub motor that we've got here. When it comes to the build of the Engwe O14, I think it's a pretty unique build, primarily when it comes to the shaft drive system. The shaft drive system is very uncommon. I've not seen any electric bike previously using this, but there is basically using the rotational force of the crank here to rotate this shaft, which in turn is then going to rotate the wheel here. And it's only got one gear, but the thing is that this shaft drive is very good actually for an urban environment or like an urban electric vehicle, because they're very, you can say, maintenance-free compared to chains. You don't have to lube them, less risk of them snapping or anything like that. Shaft drives usually last the lifetime of the entire bike. So it's like a very, you could say, maintenance-free bike because of this build mechanism here. So I think it's quite interesting. I think it's quite suited with someone using this just to cruise around in the city, or just using this for short distances. Otherwise, when it comes to the build, we've got the foldable mechanism here. And the weight here is 30 kilos with the battery. So it's a little bit heavy. And for this tiny bike, I think it is actually a little bit too heavy, I would say. Too heavy for my liking. I definitely think you can get better, like a better foldable, or like get more out of a 30 kilo bike than this. I would like this bike to be maybe 25 kilos. Like the Aventon Cinch 2 was 30 kilos, even less actually. And it's got beefier tires, this and gears and everything. That's one of the downsides to the shaft drive. So even though it's like low maintenance, it is a bit heavier as well than a typical train drive. When it comes to like the rear rack here, it's nice to have got rear racks. We've got fenders, that's really nice. Then we've got not like a proper rear rack, but we've got instead of seats, so it's good if you want to carry a passenger. Though in certain EU countries it is not fully legal to do that. But you can still put something on top of here if you want to carry parcels, anything on your rear rack. So it seems like it's pretty cool integration of it. I like the way the integration of the rear rack goes into the frame. It looks very like an overall very clean build, and especially when it comes to the cables here, you can see everything goes internally routed here. So very, very clean build, I would say. Because of the weight here, this folding mechanism I wouldn't say is too practical for like taking it on the bus or train, even though it does become quite compact here, as you can see when folded. But I think that because of the weight, it's going to be very hard to haul this around, like in the train, in the bus, upstairs. So, in my opinion, this folding mechanism is mainly useful just for people who are out to put this in a car, for example, so that they can easily transport, because it's much easier to transport a foldable bike in a car than a fully fledged bike, where you have to like knock down all the seats, etc. When it comes to the tires, we've got 14-inch tires, and I like that these tires are the pattern here. They've got like a smooth, slick appearance here, but But at the same time, they got a little bit of tread, so it's good for a bit of rain or unevenness on the road. But for urban commuting, I think this is or urban journeys is going to be a very good tire type. I also like how the wheels here are made out of these alloy spokes here. Like less risk of them breaking or anything like that. Like just generally speaking, this bike I would say is a really good, like solid, reliable, maintenance-free bike. Everything around this bike screams like maintenance-free. We've got the shaft drive. We've got the mechanical disc brakes, which this has as well, which is also pretty maintenance-free. We've got the alloy spokes, and with this overall, the very clean build. I think it's a really good, nice. Got like a maintenance-free bike here. When it comes to the seat, I like this seat. This is a very comfortable seat with the springs. But not only does it have the springs here, you've also got the shock absorber here. So you've got a very comfortable ride here. That's really nice for urban use. It's going to be very comfortable. Just like, hop in and off of it. It's going to be a very nice feeling when you go on bumps. And I almost feel like this addition of shock absorption is almost mandatory here with these tiny wheels, where you're going to feel the bumps a lot more than you otherwise would. When it comes to the shock absorber here, we've got a basic shock absorber here on the front. Nice, they've got a little addition to a shock absorber just to give a little bit extra comfort when you're riding with these tiny small wheels that are going to just, generally speaking, make all bumps feel a lot more. We've got a tiny little kickstand here in the back. They're very cute. And we've also got lights on the front and back, so it's nice they added that. Some bikes can sometimes miss these. When it comes to the brakes, we've got disc brakes, which is nice. Mechanical ones, maybe not as good as hydraulics, but very reliable. Mechanical ones, easy to service as well. If something breaks, you just replace the cable or increase the tension in the cable. And I think for like an urban use, this is still fine with the mechanical disc brakes. When it comes to the gears, we don't have any gears here. We just got a single speed drive with the shaft drive. It's very maintenance free here. This bike is available in both US and EU countries, so you can get it worldwide. And when it comes to the Engwe brand itself, I would strongly recommend Engwe. I think Engwe is a good company. They've been very good with helping with support. I've had a bike that I was not happy with, and I was able to return it even because Engwe were kind enough to allow me to change my mind. And just overall, they answer questions. Don't be afraid that their English is not the best, because that could maybe put some people off, but they actually do try to help you quite a bit. So for the price of $729 for a shaft drive, 15 amp hour, 48 volt battery, like you got the shock absorbers, the mud guards, everything in this one little package here, I say it's a pretty decent deal here. There are drawbacks to this bike, and for me the main drawback is the weight. The weight is just too heavy for this type of bike. I wouldn't expect it to weigh this much. Like if say the battery was maybe 20 amp hours, then I would understand, okay, yeah, that's the reason this bike weighs 30 kilos. Or if it was a lot beefier, then yeah, I would understand. Like for example, Engwe's the Engine Pro or the Engine EPT Pro. This I would understand if it's like 30 kilos, but quite heavy. But on the other hand, you've got aspects of this bike that make it heavier. You've got the alloy rims, you've got the shaft drive, a big thing, increasing the weight. So that is also all going to contribute to the weight. You get more reliability, I would say. Like it feels like this is quite a bulletproof bike. So who is this for? I would say this is for people who want to be doing some short errands in urban environments, not very long ones, and cruise around and not have to at all worry about anything breaking their bike, not worrying about any spokes getting loose, not worrying about any problems with the chain lube or anything with the chain hopping off or any of these drawbacks of a chain. So someone who just wants to do short errands in a very reliable fashion in the city. Should you buy it for $729? And if you're very looking forward to trying out the shaft drive, I'd say you should buy it. But otherwise, for me personally, I prefer to have a bike that's a little bit lighter for what I could get here. If I was going to have this heavy of a bike, I would expect a bit more. So would I buy it? I maybe would if I was looking for a shaft drive bike. I'm not particularly looking for a shaft drive bike, so I'd prefer a different type of bike. But it's still a very cool, interesting bike. It's something very new. It's very uncommon to see these shaft drive bikes, and especially for this price of €729. I would have expected something like this to go for a lot more with a shaft drive bike. So that's my review on the Engwe O14. Hope you guys enjoyed, Hope you learned something new. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. I'll catch you guys later.